Hello, Oracles. Big day today. All the YieldMax ETFs announced their payouts today. Tesla stock dipped down hard to start the day, but climbed back up and recovered nicely to close over $250. So, what happened today? What caused all of this? What are these payouts going to be for these YieldMax ETFs? TSLY, NVDY, OARK, APLY. What are these payouts? And how close was I to my prediction for the payout for TSLY? We will get into all of that in just a minute. All right, so looking at the charts today, again, basically flat on the day, didn't move much at all to end the day. We moved a bit during the course of the day. We opened at 245 and then climbed up nicely after we dipped down to 243. So we climbed back up and again closed over 250. So I did add a line here right now at 245. This has been a very hard bounce 3 times in the last week. So I added that as a level of support right now. So again, this is going to be kind of what we're paying attention to. Looks like we are in this consolidation phase. So again, the next few weeks, we have some pretty important stuff going on. Next week, we have CPI and PPI. The week after that, we have the FOMC meeting. We may get the announcement of the Cybertruck event. Maybe they hold that in the last week of September. And then the first week of October, we're going to have the production and delivery announcement. So we have a lot of things that could cause this to break out or break down. And that's currently what we're looking at right now is a consolidation to a point where we are waiting to break out or break down. And one of those pieces of information might be what caused us to move one way or the other. Now, again, this level 245 here is acting as the support. So if we break below it and close below it, that might be a downward signal sign. Just got to pay attention and we'll wait to see what happens. All right, so now on to the YieldMax ETF payouts. So here is TSLY. The payout announcement today was 58 cents. So for those of you who follow me over on X, you'll know that I worked up a spreadsheet last weekend coming up with what I thought was going to be the payout this week. So looking at this here, this is again last weekend. So the spreadsheet I put out here took into account open and close prices for the month for TSLY, the highs and the lows, and the VIX high and low, because the premiums and payouts that they make for these YieldMax ETFs are based off of volatility and options. So my guesstimate was going to be between 50 and 60 cents. We came in right in line with my estimates. So I'm also going to now this weekend take into account what we could possibly be seeing when it comes to the TSLA numbers, because theoretically that is what this is based off of, is TSLA, not TSLY. So I'm going to try and dial it in a little bit closer, and I'll keep you guys posted. So far, I am 1 for 1, and I'm going to try to narrow it down a little bit more. But seeing as I can now sort of figure out these payments, if I can be consistent with this, it'll give us a better guide going forward as to what we might see for this income cash flow. Now, the big winner dollar-wise was NVDY, coming in at 93 cents per share. Percentage-wise, it still fell short of TSLY, but we saw a nice run in NVDY last month. That is what caused this to be higher than the previous month for NVDY. So again, these payouts fluctuate significantly and they do underperform the underlying security, but if you are looking for cash flow generation, these are going to be the way to go versus the actual underlying security itself. Other payouts we saw today were OARK coming in at 36 cents per share. We had APLY coming in at 22 cents per share. We had AMZY with their first payout at 47 cents per share. We had GUI coming in with their first payout at 29 cents per share. FBY coming in at 28 cents per share, and NFLY coming in at 42 cents per share. So again, these are still, to me, volatile and highly risky plays to be in. They're obviously drawing very big payouts, but they really haven't been around long enough to determine, are they going to be a yield trap? In talking with Gort, when you start looking at when they have the X date come out, they announce the payment, typically the price of the ETF will be dropping the price of the payout. So we will end up seeing TSLY drop by 58 cents. So the question here is it recovering enough to make up for it? Sometimes it has, but in looking at it with Gort's charts, it hasn't fully recovered the entire way. And again, it definitely underperforms TSLA when it recovers. So it may not fall as far, but it does not recover as much as TSLA either. So if it trades sideways, does not matter. But if it's continuing to fall down and never recover, that's a yield trap. We're paying attention to this. Now, I still have the majority of my money when it comes to dividends in these. So I'm putting my money out there, taking a risk on this because I do think that when we do recover, it will come back up. So it's just a matter of how is this going to trade over the next year with uncertain markets? Volatility plays a role in this, and the volatility is important because that's what's going to give us the bigger payouts. So again, I'm taking this to month. I'm going to do the spreadsheets. I'm going to have the spreadsheet made up for NVDY this weekend as well to try and figure it out. Now, it's going to take until the end of the month. I have to get the entire month's worth of data in to really kind of determine what the payout is going to be. But at the end of this month, I will try to get all the YieldMax ETFs up. And again, I will build up the NVDY one this weekend and share it with you guys. And today I did get a couple other dividend payouts. I got JEPI paying out $4.27. I dripped that right back into it. And JEPQ paying out $5.29. That will get dripped right back in as well. Next week, I have close to $300 in dividends getting paid out. I will keep you guys posted on those. That is my big week for the month. So next week alone is going to pay out more than last month did in its entirety. So this is the power of dividends and passive income when it comes to the snowball effect and growing. And when we're looking at the rest of the month to determine how Tesla is going to be trading, we can take a look at some of the news. Sawyer Merritt posting out, General Motors made a counteroffer to the United Auto Workers Union proposing a total 16% pay raise for the top wage earners in its plants and a 56% hike for newer employees who make less, the company said in a statement. Well, clearly the UAW was not happy with this. Sawyer Merritt updates that with the UAW president called GM's offer an, quote, insulting proposal and tells automaker to, quote, stop wasting time. After refusing to bargain in good faith for the past 6 weeks, GM has come to the table with an insulting proposal that doesn't come close to an equitable agreement. So this is not boding well for GM. I do not know how the other two automakers are faring with this, but not looking good for GM. Now, as was pointed out in the comments, if this is going to not go in GM's favor and we end up having the UAW pushing for more or a strike happens, this could raise the price of vehicles. We are already getting the market kind of pensive about the fact that OPEC may be cutting some oil production, causing oil prices to go up. So oil prices go up, vehicle prices go up. That could be leading to some more inflation fears. And realistically, oil is out of the Fed's control, but it does affect a lot of other things. So is this something that is actually going to be a concern? My thoughts on this, for those of us who are looking for this EV revolution to actually take over, us switch the world over to renewable energy, this is great. ICE vehicles are becoming more expensive. Oil is becoming more expensive, just forcing people to naturally want to go the route of EVs. So thinking about the fact that if we get into a recession next year, maybe more people end up losing their jobs, we get to a point where people are struggling to pay bills, they're really going to be looking at the fact that why am I going to be buying an ICE vehicle to pay even more for gas when I can just get an EV and use electricity? So the way this next year and a half and 2 years could play out with these two pieces of information could really bode well for Tesla over the next couple of years. And in other positive news, Sawyer posts out news. Honda and Acura announced today that it has reached an agreement with Tesla to adopt Tesla's North American Charging Standard, NACS, for the charging port of its EV models that will go on sale in North America starting from 2025. Now, this is something we had heard about previously, but it wasn't official. Now it is official, and as of 2025, their vehicles will have that charging port. And to go along with the charging news, Gort posts out, Hilton Worldwide Holdings expands agreement with Tesla to place up to 20,000 EV chargers in 2,000 North American hotels. Now, this is big because we've heard about it in the past where there were a lot of hotels and different places you could stay that would have EV charging stations there because they were convenient for the guests. That was kind of a decision maker. So if somebody who was a guest drove an EV, they would be more apt to stay at one of these places because they had the chargers right on site. Hilton now taking this on is going to be big because now people, again, as more EVs are on the road, they're going to be like, hey, instead of having to go to a gas station down the road from them, they've got an EV charging port right on site. There are hotels that have gas stations right nearby. That's pretty typical, but they don't have them right on site where you can go there, park, plug it in, go into your room, do what you got to do, come out and unplug it and move your vehicle. That doesn't happen. You can't do that with an ICE vehicle. So this is going to be huge. And I think we're going to see a lot more and more of this when it comes to hotels in the future. And then in some unconfirmed questionable news, S.E. Robinson Jr. posts out news. According to a report published in the Mexican daily Reforma, Tesla is eyeing 2026 or possibly even 2027 to potentially begin production of Giga Mexico. Quote, 2 or 3 months ago, there was a lot of rush, lots of pressure to look for a location. But 1 month later, they told us to wait, said an anonymous Chinese supplier. Tesla has not confirmed or denied this. So now this is information coming from a supplier. So is this something where Tesla's decided maybe they don't need that supplier or they're going to be using it for something else? Has Tesla changed plans? Is this actually breaking ground going to be delayed? Or is it just production of the vehicles that are going to be delayed? Is this even true at all? Again, this is just a rumor. Nothing has been confirmed or denied by Tesla. So we're going to have to wait on this. But it is kind of strange that Mexico was very on board with all of this going as quickly as possible. They said they're not going to get in the way. It wasn't going to be anything like Berlin. Tesla was all about let's push this and make this happen. We basically had timelines coming down saying we were going to be seeing this next generation platform vehicle coming out end of 2024, most likely production beginning 2025. So having this delay is just a little questionable. Some people are speculating that maybe it's because Elon really senses a recession coming on and it's going to be hard and he wants to stockpile this cash just to be able to make sure that they get through this. Because again, we already know that starting up a new Gigafactory is a lot of cash burn. Do they really want to be going through all of that cash burn during a very difficult time next year? Probably not. So again, this is just speculation. Maybe we hear more about this on the Q3 earnings call. I have no doubt somebody's going to be asking questions because at this point, we figured Mexico is already going to have broken ground and have construction started. We haven't seen any of that. And if anybody is interested in watching, Adrian in the Hat over on X is our flyover guy for that area. So definitely follow him over there and you guys can see all of the updated information as to what's going on for Giga Mexico. So overall today, it was a very exciting day. Got some good news for Tesla, got the questionable things about Giga Mexico. All the YieldMax ETF payouts came out. I know that some of them like TSLY, not as exciting as 83 cents per share, but again, based upon the way TSLA traded in August, fell right in line with what I expected. We will track it so far this month. It's basically traded sideways. So I will go back into the history and take a look at what sideways trading did for the payouts, and we will track this going forward. So otherwise, thank you guys so much for watching. I appreciate all of your support. Have a great one.